That's what it is.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Team Talk number 13. I've just been told by Jahisha. Really excited to spend the next hour with you on this Team Talk. And we are really lucky to have Darren Westall, CEO of Pager, with us. Hey, Darren, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. That music was quite pumpy, wasn't it? I'm all ready to go now.
It was, yeah. I had to turn my microphone down and my speakers down a little bit there. It was a little bit loud, but great to have you here, Darren.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this. It's long overdue. We've been speaking about doing this for quite a while, so I'm excited to get going.
So Darren, with Pager, have been in team for a long time now, and I get to go to lots of regional networking meetings, and I've managed to speak at the Recruitment Agency Expo twice. And both times I spoke, I talked about the LinkedIn Playbook by Pager, the first version of it, as such a valuable resource for anyone really in the recruitment sector looking to improve their LinkedIn profiles, boost engagement, give them ideas for content and strategies. And Darren and I started speaking a couple of months ago now about doing a second version. And what was the kind of impetus for that for you, Darren, of doing a new version of the Playbook?
For me, it's because LinkedIn as a platform keeps evolving, right? And it always will do. So, but interestingly, I talk to people all the time that haven't actually got the basics right either. So you've got your kind of advanced people, you've got your people that are just getting started. And we wanted to make it so that it doesn't really matter where you are in your journey, this playbook is going to add value. So even if you're getting started right from the very beginning, you can take this playbook, you can run with it. Or even if you consider yourself a bit of a LinkedIn, you're still going to get value from it.
Definitely. And I think everyone that I've spoken to about Playbook version 1 and this new one that we're really excited to launch today, if you take each step by step, you will have a better LinkedIn profile, which will increase your, likes, it will increase your impressions and the chance for new candidates and new clients to actually want to engage with you, which is really, really important. So you're going to walk us through each step of this. And the reason we're doing this LinkedIn Live and we're doing it in this format is that we both decided that we could have just sent this playbook out to all of our contacts and the members of team and suppliers and all of Pager's customers. But in reality, when you're watching someone, a guru like Darren, who knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to LinkedIn, those little synapses will be firing off in your brain. You'll be thinking, actually, this is how I can improve my profile in this way, or tweak my profile to be different and have different calls to action and lots of ideas. So Darren, I think you're going to open the slides and take us through step 1 of the playbook.
Absolutely. Right. Hopefully you can see my screen. Should be able to.
There we go.
Lovely. So big thing for me is the reason I'm so keen to partner with team on this, right, is for me, LinkedIn can be your superpower, if you like. When I first came to market with Pager, the idea of picking up the phone and making a cold call, if I'm being honest, scared the life out of me, right? I'm not that type of salesperson, but the reality is when you run your own business, whether you like it or not, you're in sales. So I think it's important to remember that LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn, personal branding, whatever you want to call it, should be part of your sales strategy. So I don't want you to think of this as, oh, it's this marketing thing that I can afford to put off. You really can't, because actually the world's moved forward and social selling is such a big thing. Every phone call you make, every email you send, they are checking your LinkedIn profile and they're just asking themselves that one question: can I trust this person? Whether that's with their business, whether that's with their career. And if your profile's not set up correctly, then you will lose that trust. So in a time when we're all trying to win more jobs, job flows down, you need to make sure you're not giving people a reason not to trust you. So please do follow along, take what you can from it. But remember, we're not here to turn you into influencers. I genuinely couldn't care how many likes you get on LinkedIn. It's nice, it's vanity metrics. What I care about is actually, does your phone ring off the back of a LinkedIn post? Do people look at your profile and actually trust you? Now, why do we care? The reason we care is LinkedIn's got over 1 billion members. But the really, really important stat in that isn't actually the billion. It's the fact that 1% of these members ever post content. So if you want to be in the top 1% of people, all you need to do is post. And that's why I find it staggering when people overthink it. They think, oh my God, what do I post today? Oh no, I can't put myself out there. When actually you're running your own business, you're a recruiter, you're in sales, you're already in sort of the top 1% of people, right? You've made that jump. All I'm asking you for is not really a jump, it's like a step. Just take the next step in post and you're going to be in that top 1%. So let's jump into set up a profile. The thing to remember is your LinkedIn profile is your shop window. I say this all the time. You spent time building your website. You made sure your website was on brand. You made sure that you had a call to action, whether that was to get in touch with you, whether that was to apply for a job. You need to think about your LinkedIn profile in exactly the same way. It's indexed by Google the same way your website is. So you need to make sure that your shop window is not just a website, but it's also your LinkedIn as well. You need to make it clear, credible, and compelling. And that all starts with your headline. Your headline is probably the most seen thing on LinkedIn. Every single time you comment on a post, it's an opportunity for someone to read your headline and understand what you do. So if your headline right now says, I don't know, recruiter at XYZ, right? That's simply not good enough. I want you to think about what it is you actually do. If you specialize in Python recruitment, for example, I want your headline to be helping Python developers take the next step in their career, whatever it may be. Think around that. If your headline isn't customized, if it's just your job title, you're missing the trick, because it is the thing that people see most on LinkedIn. The second thing I want to jump into is your URL. So here, by default, my URL will just be a bunch of numbers, when actually you can edit it. And I'd encourage you to edit it to your to. So I've purposely put mine as Darren Westall. The reason being is when I'm at events, it's really easy for me to say linkedin.com/in/Darren Westall. That's how you can connect with me. But if you want to think about that SEO again, your LinkedIn profile is probably going to appear higher in your SEO than your website when it comes to your name. So I'd be sitting there thinking, right, I'm going to tie mine to #1 Python recruiter in Essex, something like that. I'm going to stick on this theme. But if people are searching for top Python recruiter in Essex, your LinkedIn profile shows up. So do think about it way beyond just a bunch of letters and numbers, right? This is going to impact how people find you.
Darren, whilst you're still on that point as well, before you go to the banner, also on the headline part, I noticed you have Pager written in your headline. Would you suggest that recruiters have their company name or anything else in their headline that might make them stand out?
I would. The reason I always put Pager everywhere is because my goal with Pager is to get a brand that is familiar. So every opportunity, you will see the Pager logo. You'll see my face
on my t-shirt.
On your t-shirt, right? The reason I coming back to cold calling, right? Anything you can do to make a cold call slightly warmer is good. And one of the ways you can do that is by having a recognizable brand. Our guys are out there making calls and people are saying, oh, I've heard of Pager. What does it do? That isn't a cold call anymore, right? It's actually turned into quite a warm phone call through brand repetition. So wherever you can, put your brand in front of people, every opportunity you can, and your headline is absolutely one of those opportunities.
Excellent.
The next thing is your banner. Probably my biggest pet hate on LinkedIn is people leaving the default banner. It's your prime real estate. Do not waste it, right? The default banner adds absolutely no value. This is your opportunity to add call to actions through QR codes, your logo again, but also your strapline, right? Empowering recruiters to thrive, grow, cut costs, and increase revenue together. Without even reading Kim's profile, I know what team does. So I've not scrolled down. I know how to get in touch. I know what she does, and I know the brand. If you haven't changed your banner in this way, it is your biggest missed opportunity. #1 thing to take away is update your banner. If you don't have a good banner, please go out and get one designed. Feel free to message me on LinkedIn. I can recommend some awesome banner designers. But equally, open up Canva. You can do it for free. But if you haven't got your logo on your banner, you haven't got your strapline, you haven't got a call to action, it's a big missed opportunity unless you want people to scroll down. So if you look at my profile right now, I've got our logo, I've got our strapline, but I want people to read a bit more. So it depends what your call to action is. Mine is to get people to scroll. But if actually you think actually straight away I want to get a call, equally absolutely fine. The biggest sin though is having that default banner. Do not do it. Now the about section. this is interesting because I read so many about sections that read like a CV. It's I did this and I went to college and I got this and I got that. Nobody cares. So it's not really about you. It should be about how you help people. It should be the other way. What problems do you solve? Add value to your ideal customer. Be creative and give people a reason to contact you. What I mean by that is, if you go to mine, it will talk about how BD and recruitment is broken and everybody's trying to fight for the same jobs when actually we should be looking at casting a much wider net, how we should be driving inbound opportunities. At no point have I actually spoken about me or Paige. I've spoken about the problem that we solve. So use your first sentence really carefully. Ideally, ask a question. You want to have a hook at the start. Not all of your text is shown. It's hidden under the see more link. So in the same way that you'd write a job advert to catch people's attention, you need to think about your about profile as well. What's it going to be that actually hooks them in and makes them click on it?
Is there an optimal amount of words in your about, Darren?
Not that I found. I've had long about profiles. I've had short. I've had sort of medium. Either way, I think it's about good content. So if you can get your message across in a short amount of content, I'd recommend that. People have got short attention spans. But equally, if you've got a story to tell, then don't be afraid to go longer. Just think about something that's actually going to grab their attention. It's only about good content. If your about section is going to be 2 or 3 lines, that's probably not enough. Like, don't go too short. But equally, if you've got a good story to tell, the reason you got into recruitment, how you've helped someone, and tell that story in your about section, for me, that would be better than just having 200 words.
Excellent.
Next one is your profile picture. So we've heard of catfishing. Please don't do it. An up-to-date picture. And I'd always say wear what you normally would wear. Like, everyone does a picture like, this was the last wedding I attended, so I'm going to crop that picture out. Remember, people buy from people, and you're going to meet these people in real life at some point. So to get a nice picture of you, ideally a clean white background would be great. Try not to have any distractions. The key goal is for someone to see you and actually recognize a human being. Every single email that's sent from a Pager employee has their photo on it. The reason being is we actually saw a much higher response rate with a photo than not. The same thing goes for LinkedIn profiles as well. If you have that standard picture, people aren't going to click through and view your profile as much. Really, really important you get a decent photo of you that's got your full headshot, and don't overthink it. Like, really don't overthink it. I'm I don't know, with my BMI, probably midlife kind of guy, right? I don't care what people think of me. Please take that mindset. People aren't sitting there going, oh, look at that person's LinkedIn picture. It really doesn't matter. And then the final thing is your contact information. Probably the second thing that really bugs me, right? You've got all of this great information about how you help people, and then you don't actually give someone a way to get in touch with you. You don't have your mobile number on there. You don't have your email address. You don't have a QR code. You don't have a link to your website. People aren't going to connect with you, and then 2 days later when you accept it, think, oh, I must go to see their contact information and give them a call. It just doesn't work that way. You need to remove as many barriers to entry as you can. And by having your contact information out there, readily available, it means people can easily get in touch. I'd recommend saying like something's really quite informal, like, here's my mobile number, pop me a WhatsApp if it's between these hours, or give me a call between these hours. That way you can always get in touch with me really, really simply.
And the contact information, this is the button that you have on your profile page that opens a separate window. So a lot of the times when I'm looking at recruiters' profiles or potential members of team, and there's no like evident contact details in their about section or on the top of their profile, I'll click on that box and it will have like their, like the email address that they used to have at school or something like that in there, or the contact details are completely wrong. I've seen really senior leaders in recruitment still have their old company websites in there. There's some real minefield, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give leads to your ex-employer, so let's say you're XS3, ex-Michael Page, whatever it may be, then leave your old email address in, right? Because that's all that's going to happen. People are going to email, say, I saw your post, I love what you do, and they're going to pick up that lead from you. So make sure your contact information is up to date. I would include the contact information that you're comfortable with in your about section as well, because then people that are second and third line connections can actually get in touch with you without having to connect. So I would do both. I'd have them up to date in my contact information, but I'd also, in my call to action, my about, I would have some form of phone number or email address for people to get in touch that aren't connected to me.
Brilliant.
Moving on to your featured section. I'm pretty convinced most people don't know this exists, when actually it's probably one of the only places where you can pin things like your website, pin videos, pin your best content. So when you've done a post, you can actually click the three dots and you can say, right, feature on the top of my profile. I've got things in there like testimonials that we've got from customers. I've got things in like top features of Pager. That way, when someone visits my profile, they've seen my about section, they've seen my banner, they know what we do. And actually, if they scroll down just a little bit more, they can actually see real customers using Pager and also what Pager does. So without even leaving LinkedIn, they know what Pager does and they can actually see it in action. And it's because of those pinned posts in the features section. So I would take your best NPS scores, your best testimonials. Maybe it's a role that you're constantly filling. Maybe you recruit for the similar sort of thing. Pin it onto your profile, pin it onto your feature section. That's how you're going to create a standout profile. Any questions on that, Andy?
I think the different media types is really, really important. Like if you're going to a new client meeting and you want to talk to them about some of the successes that you've had in the past, why you're different, like why you're different from the thousands and thousands of other recruiters out there that might be pitching business with them. Like this is a great example of how you can showcase that. You know, a video of you talking, so they get a bit for a feel without having to go into your LinkedIn profile and go trawl back through all of the prior comments and posts that you've created, like all the things that you're most proud of, that really do make you stand out. I just think it's an amazing feature, and you're absolutely right. Barely anyone uses it properly.
Yeah, and I love that. I think that's a good way to sum it up. All the things you're proud of. Think about what you're proud of as a business. What would you want everyone to see about you first? That's what you should be pinning on there.
We've got a question just flying in from Mr. Baxi on banners. So Kalpesh is asking, on the banners, Darren, do you recommend using the carousel banners if people have a premium LinkedIn account?
If you have more than one thing someone wants to know about you. The reason I have that caveat is I always think you've got a top priority as a business. What do you want to be known as? What do you want people to see you as? And I would recommend picking that and sticking with one banner. If you have multiple things, let's say there's a couple of verticals you recruit in and you want to actually, you don't want to give one over the other, then absolutely rotate your banners. But I'm a big believer that as a business, you can only be known as one thing. And I'm sure Kalpesh will agree. And I think you need to pick that top thing and put that as your banner.
And we've got another quick question as well from Sarah Burton. So she said, it's a great tip on changing the URL. But remember, you need to update any marketing material that has the link, e.g. your email signature, when you do that.
Yes, it will break. Yeah, it will break your previous URL. So yeah, keep that in mind.
To make sure that when you do this URL task, you pick something that's relevant for you and you stick with it forever.
Completely agree.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you're going to be changing your vertical every 6 months, then maybe don't put that in it.
Actually, that's what I did. I didn't change my vertical, but when this feature first went live, which was probably 10 plus years ago now, I changed mine to the #1 defense recruiter.
Right.
And that was on a lot of because we used to exhibit a lot of defense shows, and it was just quite I suppose looking back on it now, it's a bit cheesy. And I probably wouldn't pick something like that now. But yeah, all of those had to change, I think, when I did that the first time. So the next part of the LinkedIn playbook is all about recommendations, which is something that I talk to so many people about in team. It's a great way for asking for recommendations and giving recommendations is doing something different outside of the normal BD process or catch-up call process. You know, if you recommend someone that you've been working with or that you've placed in the past, and not enough people use them. So what's your advice, Darren, on recommendations?
I think the biggest thing is the pro tip. Ask for them. You know, so many people say to me, "Oh, you get referrals at Pager." That's because we ask for a referral much. I want to say 5 times in the first year. Someone's a customer with us. We've got it so that at the start of onboarding, do you know anybody? At the end of onboarding, do you know anybody? On your first month, on the first quarterly review, we ask every single time we're asking for referrals, and recommendations are no different. If you've done good work for people, they will recommend you. They will refer people to you. But it's not the first thought they have. They don't think, oh, I must leave Andy a recommendation on LinkedIn because he's been fantastic. They just think, oh, it was great. It's not until you sow that seed and say, and like, would you mind leaving me a recommendation on LinkedIn? They go, of course I would, absolutely. I'll take 5 minutes out and do that for you. So yeah, make sure you ask for them. People want to hear from people that you work with. They don't want to hear from you. Right? Social proof is so important. You need to have logos on your website. For me, the logos on your website of your clients are the same thing as LinkedIn recommendations on LinkedIn. The first thing I'm going to see, right, this person sounds like he has a problem, she's a problem. I'm going to go to the bottom and see what other people are saying. I'd go saying you should remove recommendations that aren't relevant to what you do now. So I want those recommendations to be highly specific into what you do. As an example, when I was at Broadbean, I was a software developer. I had lots of testimonials from like project managers saying, "Oh, fantastic delivery on code, etc. Great colleague to work with." They're not visible on my LinkedIn profile anymore because unfortunately not relevant. I love them for giving to me, but they're not going to help me win new business. So I would always curate them as well, thinking about your audience. Again, it's your shop. What do you want people to know about you?
Yeah. I think they're also a great tool as well that, going back to the idea of pinning posts on LinkedIn, when I used to have my solo recruitment business, I used to take my recommendations, screenshot them, put them onto a document, and I used to send that to prospects. Or if I was having a meeting, I'm like, this is what, some candidates or clients have said about me in the past. Again, that's another great opportunity for you to pin because not everyone's going to scroll down right to the bottom of your LinkedIn profile to see the recommendations or even know about them. So it's just another way to get those testimonials about the great work that you do pinned and featured on your profile as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can share them in Pages. So directly in Pages, you can say, right, my recommendations, share. And then once you put it out as a LinkedIn post, you could then pin it as one of your featured posts on your profile. So if you wanted to get that recommendation up a little bit, you can absolutely do that as well.
I'm not quite sure if it's me that's frozen there or you, Darren. Was that me or you?
Have I frozen?
Am I back? Yeah. We're back now. We're back.
We're back. Cool. Ironically, we're frozen at the point where we're talking about building connections. So here we go. Your LinkedIn network is incredibly important. I think it's really important to remember that every time you do a post, LinkedIn does sort of test it out with some of your network. They're going to test and say, right, is this relevant? And then depending on how they engage, they decide whether to put it out to more people. What that means is you should be really selective over who you're with. I've often said to people, I want you to remove school friends, remove people that you went to college with, people you went to uni with, because they're not going to help you in what you do now. You've got a limit in how many connections you're allowed, 30,000. You want to make sure every single connection actually adds value. We'll find your post engaging because the way they interact with it affects how many other people see your post. So do not add irrelevant connections. There is no point just accepting any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's just diluting your reach. So try every single day to connect with 10 to 15 good people in your network. The big thing for me is remembering that actually it's not a bad thing to disconnect from people. And I keep coming back to this point because the first thing I'd want you to do when it comes to your connections is actually cleanse your connections. Go through and go, right, who belongs on my Facebook and Instagram doesn't belong on my LinkedIn. And actually what you're going to see then is your post will reach more people because the people that see it initially will engage with it because it's hyper relevant to their niche. It's all about relevancy rather than hoping that thousands of people see it when those thousands of people aren't actually relevant. Cool. So this is a quick read of your team tip right now. Downloading your LinkedIn data file. I don't think many people know about that. I think this is another one where people don't realize you can export your connection list and you can then re-engage them as prospects. You can get them into your CRM. So building up that LinkedIn connections can actually help you build your database. But you need to actually request a download of your data. If you're not sure how to do that, just Google it, download my LinkedIn data. It is a gold mine. I know you've said it in here, but it is an absolute gold mine. You'd be amazed how many of those 30,000 people you realize that actually you made a placement with 2-3 years ago. You're not spoken to them since. You should be making sure you're looking at that. I'd say every 6 months, maybe every 3 months, looking at new connections. But it really is a powerful source of data if you haven't got that already.
I think if you marry it up with, so I'm quite old. I used to be quite old school and I used to be on the tools and I used to track every single candidate that I had on interview. And
Right.
I've got a spreadsheet going back to 2007 on that. So every single candidate, every job they interviewed for, And if you can now we got AI, right? We can now overlay one spreadsheet over the top of your LinkedIn profile, and find out where those people are going, and look for the trends and analyze that kind of data and stats. I know not everyone would have done what I've done over the years, but if you've got a track record or a CRM that goes back years, there could be some real opportunity there to flesh out some really great prospects and re-engage people that you haven't dealt with for a very long time.
Yeah, and it can be as simple as commenting on their post, right? You don't need to think, oh, I need to take this person out for lunch. Just go to LinkedIn, see what they posted recently, and add a meaningful comment back. Actually, then you could call them 2 days later, and they don't think in their head, I've not spoken to this guy for 2 years. They think, oh, actually, I remember Andy commented on my post 2 days ago. It's now, again, a warm conversation. I think LinkedIn can turn things from absolutely freezing cold to quite hot opportunities very, very quickly when used in the right way.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, moving on to when to post. And this is the big thing for me, consistency. I'm not too, people say to me, should I post in the morning? Should I post in the afternoon? My answer is always post when you're going to be around. Yes, there are optimal times, but actually you need to make sure that you can post regularly and you're going to be around to interact after. So yes, you should post every single day. I'm a big believer in that, and I try my very best to do it myself, including weekends, because a lot of our inquiries come on weekends. People are on LinkedIn, they've actually got time to think. So, and think about candidates as well. The weekends is probably when they're thinking about changing jobs. It's not often when they're sitting at their desk with all this work to do. It's when they finish on a Friday and you think, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to get to the pub. And then Saturday they're thinking, oh, this is lovely, but I don't want to go back there. So please do find what works for you. Remember that most of the activity is generally between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. So don't try and be clever and posting at midnight just because less people are posting. But yeah, think about what's right for your audience. I think really, if I have to pin down a time, it's between 8 to 11. But again, only if you're going to be around to comment back to people. There's no point posting and ghosting. So if you're not around to 11:30, please just do your post at 11:30. But people say to me, look, when should I post? And obviously Page makes it really easy because you can schedule them in advance. But yeah, if I said one thing, is actually not to overthink it and just concentrate on being consistent. I'm going to post every single day. I'm going to show up. I'm going to comment back. And if it means that you have to post slightly outside of those hours, I'd much rather that.
Yeah. And when you schedule your posts via Pager, how many can you schedule and for how long and what type? How does that all work?
With Pager, you can schedule any type of content. So we support videos, we support PDFs, we support polls, all the different types of content on LinkedIn, and you can schedule as far in advance as you want. I typically do 2-week bursts. So every 2 weeks I go in and go, right, I'm going to schedule this post for the next 2 weeks. And then I know that's taken care of. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Video, I'm sure we're going to come on to, is one of the best types of content on LinkedIn. So you can absolutely schedule and
Looks like we've got another freeze there.
a little bit annoying.
You froze again there, mate. You're going to say that one again.
I don't know what's going on here.
Rewind 20 seconds, Darren. What was it you just said last 20 seconds?
Last 20 seconds, I said about content ideas and how in Pager we can help you with content ideas. We can help you produce video, record video, add subtitles, your logo, and then share it onto LinkedIn completely natively. So content ideas is one of the biggest reasons people don't manage that consistency. Again, don't overthink it. Focus on value. Often conversations you have during your day, whether that's with candidates or clients, be you. And obviously Pager can help you schedule that in advance and give you those ideas. So whether that's a news article, a podcast, a YouTube video, anything like that, they can actually spark that creativity in you.
Yeah. And I think, yeah. And I think the other thing as well, something that I use Pager for is the script generator as well, because a lot of people, and this is a really common thing that for the folks that are on this that don't know me, what I do within team, but I travel all around the country. I'm probably, by the time I finished Q3 networking events, I would have met 450 recruitment business owners. And one of the common things is when we talk about video content and recording video for LinkedIn, is they're just frightened to do it. Like they hate their own voice. They're not confident doing it. The transcription tool that Pager has, like, it's just so easy to use and just really does build up your confidence so much quicker using a tool like that. So
yeah, I mean, my first video on LinkedIn was 30 seconds long, but probably took me about half an hour to record. Right? And I remember at the time thinking, this is ridiculous. Like, I need to not spend half an hour for a 30-second video. The ROI is just not there. Now with Pager, I can actually write the script beforehand, and it's right in front of me. I can record it. So a 30-second video actually takes 30 seconds, which is obviously more a better use of my time, right? A lot of the reason people don't post videos is because they're spending so long on it, when actually you've got a to-do list that's longer than your arm. You can't really justify it. But genuinely with Pager, you can make a 30-second video take 30 seconds.
Cool.
All right. So if you are reading this playbook, I would recommend you click this button here, so you get 1 month of post ideas. It really is brilliant. But let's just go through the foundations of a well-written post.
Before you do that one, Darren, just to go back onto that clicking on that link with the ideas for a post, this is how I got consistent on LinkedIn. I followed something really, really similar of a whole month of content ideas, and it was painful to do it because some days I really didn't want to do it. But what you should do if you're going to do this the first time is record your engagement, which I think we're going to talk about in a minute, but look at how much engagement your current posts are getting, your profile views, your comments, like anything like that. Record that at the start of a month of doing 1 month of post ideas, and then look at it again at the end of the month. Like it will blow your mind how much it will increase by, and the presence that your LinkedIn profile has if you stick, as Darren said, like if you're consistent and you stick to that plan.
Yeah, and it's also rewarding when you see the graphs going in the right direction, right? So I'm with you. Take it at the start, because you're not going to see results overnight. You're not going to post on LinkedIn and get a client inquiry tomorrow. Right? That can take a month, 2 months of repetition, people seeing your brand. So it's important to celebrate the wins along the way. And those wins are profile views increasing, that sort of thing. And yeah, for me, that just gives you the indication that you should keep on going.
Yeah, definitely.
So what makes a good post? I'm not going to read through all of these, but probably my biggest thing is write like you talk. Be you, be real, be human. So many posts, you know, they sound like Shakespeare wrote them. I know that person. They don't speak like that. I just know it's not them. Always include a question or a hook at the start. You don't need to be controversial. I see so many people that try to be controversial just to have a hook. You can do something as simple as asking a question, right? And people want to know what your answer to that question is. So a question at the start can be really, really powerful. Do break your posts up. So many people like to write big paragraphs. Actually make them short. Sometimes it's not correct English. That's okay as well. You know, you might want to put a line break between some sentences that doesn't quite make sense if we do an essay for an English teacher, but it does make sense for engagement on LinkedIn. And emojis, there's a lot of evidence to say emojis actually increase engagement on your post. I'd use them sparingly. I wouldn't use an emoji on every single line, but I'm a big fan. So many people say to me, oh no, it's not right for my industry. It's not right for my industry. I'm blah, blah, blah. Please just try it. You'd be amazed. And I think it's important to remember that you're selling to people, right? At the end of the day, they might be people. They might be in finance recruitment. They might be in legal. They're still people. And I guarantee you they use emojis when they text their friends. So please just consider using emojis. And the important thing to remember is a call to action at the end. I don't mean a call to action as in buy my stuff. It needs to be interact with the post. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you seeing similar in the market? Let me know how you're dealing with that below, etc. It doesn't need to always be a straight sell. In fact, I try to. There's a good book called Jab Jab Punch by Gary Vaynerchuk, which talks about the fact that you don't go straight in with a punch. You need to do a couple of jabs first. So you value content of your jabs. Every now and then you can go in with a punch piece of content, which is talking about exactly what you do. So we're on to types of posts. First one is text and image. Straightforward posts to get right, and they do get good engagement. GIFs can also be really effective because they do catch people's attention as they're scrolling through. One thing I would say is don't add images for the sake of it. Try and make the image relevant to your post. If you don't have an image that's relevant, then just post text only. It really won't do any favors as just a random picture of you flexing at the gym. And I do mean you, Andy, from that, because I haven't been in the gym for many years.
Only in this Pager t-shirt because it's so tight, mate.
You look gorgeous as always. I'm sure the comments will agree. And then you've got the text only. So I'm a big fan of text only. I do videos, I do all sorts of type of posts, but actually for me, a text only post lets you tell a story. So quite often my posts tell a story in here, and you can see it on the screen here. For me, it's one of my favorites because I don't always have the ability to record a video. I don't always have the ability to take a good picture to go with it. And I think it's important to remember that you can just post text and you can still get good engagement if you tell the story correctly. I really do believe in that. The big one though is video. So LinkedIn themselves, I was at LinkedIn's offices 3 weeks ago, and they spoke about the power of video and how video is being pushed on the platform immensely. And their recommendation is very much, if you're sitting there today not knowing what to post, pick up your phone, go onto Pager, record a video. That's what's going to get you the most engagement. And I think if we come back to what we said at the very start, that people buy from people and they want to know why they can trust you, I think seeing you on a video is like accelerating that trust, right? It might take 10, 15 text posts for them to know who you are. But if they watch a 30-second video from you, actually, suddenly I feel like I know you. You'd be amazed how many people stop me. I was in Centre Parks the other week, and 2 people come up to me and say, "Oh, Darren, how are you?" And I was like, "I have no idea who you are." And they know me from my LinkedIn videos. So it really does build up that trust and credibility with your network, and people feel like they know you and you get recognized. For me, that's the number one reason to use video. It's an interesting one, right? Because you need to make sure you add subtitles. You need to make sure you brand it, etc. Obviously, I'm always in the page at top. Ironically, today I'm not, so my videos are branded. Andy's doing one for me already, which is lovely. But if you're not, do add your logo to it. Again, it's all about brand repetition. Any opportunity you've got to get your brand in front of someone, you absolutely should. And just remember that the text at the top is less important when it comes to video posting. You should still have a hook at the top. You should still put some context around it, but really a good video with subtitles, with your logo on it. And you don't need to go for War and Peace. 30 seconds, a minute seems to be what gets the most engagement. Or if you're going to do a long form piece of content, just make sure that it's got a hook throughout. People don't tend to stick around for the entire video if it's more than a minute long.
Yeah.
And if you'd add to that, Andy, I know you've been embracing video recently.
I think, LinkedIn have changed the way that, as you mentioned, how videos are like formatted when you upload them now. So, that first line is pretty much like you can see on the photo of me. That was when Courtney was presenting Pager at one of our regional events in Cambridge. So you can only see that first line to 2 lines at the top.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put any text with a video, it's got to be punchy and it's got to be relevant to what the video is all about. But I think what Darren's saying as well, like loads of people watch the videos. You can, when you post video, if you're not one of those folks that post video all the time, you can see how long your video has been watched. And it amazes me sometimes. I have a video that's 30 seconds, 40 seconds long, and it's been watched for like 2 or 3 hours. And, people watched it. So people watch them. They don't necessarily engage with them. They don't necessarily like them or comment or whatever, repost them. People are watching. I promise you. And I think the more you record, like the more confident you get, try and part of your sequence, if you're going to post 3 or 4 times a week, 1 or 2 of them really should be a video. And I think really standing out things like, talking about relevant things in your market, it's just not many. I used to come from the defense sector, right? Not many people record videos talking about what's happening in the defense sector or how excited they are about the clients that they're working with or the projects that they're working on. Like that stuff really does stand out in my old sector. And I'm sure it'd stand out in a lot of other sectors too.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just for the Pager customers on the call, please do speak to your customer success manager about this, because you can get the news from Pager in the morning, turn that into a script in your teleprompter, to record the video, add your logo and add your subtitles. And then when you schedule it through Pager, it uploads to LinkedIn as if it was done natively. So if you're going to embrace video and you're a Pager customer, please give us a call, because we're happy to talk you through doing your first one. And then it will be like riding a bike. Once you've done one, you're not going to forget it and you're going to keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to do, get that consistency in place. Number 4 is document posts, often referred to as carousels. Simply, these are PDFs, right? So create a PDF that appear as slides, and they're really quite impactful because of something called dwell time on LinkedIn. One of the ways LinkedIn decides on who to show content to is based on how long they spend on your post, and they refer to that as dwell time. Now, videos get good dwell time because obviously people stop and watch it, but as do carousels, because it stops people from scrolling and they're going to be clicking along, building up that dwell time. It's a great way to put job adverts out that you're recruiting for, but also if you've got valuable content, break that down into a couple of slides and then put the link to view the rest of it in the first comment, that sort of thing. I love carousel posts. I do think that they're getting great engagement on LinkedIn right now. If I said to you, like, if you're not willing to do video, then the next best thing is probably the carousel post right now. So please do embrace them. And yeah, I think they're great. I've seen you guys using them quite a lot, Andy. How you find them?
Yeah, they're working really, really well. It was a bit complex teaching everyone how to upload them because it's not a standard way of creating a post on LinkedIn. So we've given a quick overview. I think there in the example, you have to go in and then select a different option for upload and upload it and save the document as a PDF. So each page then flips in the carousel as you flick through it. But we've been using them. Jahisha's gone crazy with them since she's been with us the last sort of 4 or 5 months. So every time we have one of these LinkedIn lives, or we have a speaker at one of our networking events, or an L&D learning session, or I don't know, like loads and loads of different multiple uses of doing it. I think if you're a recruiter and you were going to use it, you could create, an ebook on trends that are happening in your market, your top candidates that you've placed, top recommendations or testimonials that you've had, tips and advice on something that you're offering to your market or industry. Like, there's a myriad of different ways of using them. And I think you should just, like, with a lot of the things that we're talking about today, like, just test them out. You got like literally nothing to lose. If you get more clients and more engagement and more candidates from it, then at least something that you're doing differently is working.
Yeah, absolutely. And if this looks complicated for you and you're a pager customer, you'll be pleased to know you just go to post and then click upload PDF, and it does the rest for you.
Oh yeah, it doesn't do it. That's a load of pager.
There we go. Right, number 5 is polls. Now, I love polls, and yes, you can schedule them in advance in Pager, but that's not the reason I love them. The reason I love them is because I feel like they're underutilized. And actually, as a recruiter, I think I can take your network and I can help map out who's open to talking to you rather than you having to go in cold. So if you do a post to say the next month's budget, the budget's in November, obviously that creates uncertainty. A lot of people I'm speaking to aren't willing to move roles right now. Where's your thoughts at? Are you looking to move immediately? Are you looking to move in the next couple of months, 6 months? And just to remind everyone that I'm the only person that can view these, and I won't be sharing how you vote. I'm just really keen to see how the market is right now within my connections. Now, what we've done there is a couple of things. Yes, you've added value to your network. You've shared about how the market is, your insights. You've also let people vote and see how each other votes. But also, I've just created you a short list. You've got the people that are looking to move in the next month. You've got the people that are looking to move in the next 6 months. And you can start mapping out those candidates, having conversations with them, and actually be representing them when they come to market. So for me, polls are just a great way to use it for BD, for value. But yeah, mapping out your connections and actually getting insights to your connections. It's the only one where they can give you something and you can actually see how they voted and who it was. So think about how you can use that information.
Definitely. And I think the other thing, like with polls as well, I suppose a question I've got for you before I say this. What's your advice on using the option, like the last option that you have available as comment below? Or because you only get 30 characters per line? Mm-hmm. Comment below, or I just want to see the results or something to that effect as your last option. Is that a good thing, bad thing? What's your advice on that, Darren?
It depends on the context of the poll. If you take my my example about who's looking to move in the next sort of period of time, I think that could take away, because everyone's going to think, oh no, I'm not going to share that. I'm just going to see the results. So yes, it's a good way if the goal of your post is to drive engagement, people seeing your brand. If actually you want good data out of it and you want to use that data for something, I wouldn't put that as an option.
Yeah, I'm using them at the moment. I've got 6 polls. I've done 3 or 4 now. So I'm talking at the Rec Expo next week, all about how the best recruiters win at industry events. And I've got 6 different polls about questions about events, like, why do people go to them, 4 options, 4 potential reasons why they go, what they don't like about them. And I'm going to kind of use the data. I won't be naming people, because obviously when you create a poll, you can see who votes, but everyone else can't see it. But I'm going to use that data as on one of my slides. This is kind of the kind of average sentiment across my contacts within LinkedIn. So again, it's another piece of content that you can create, you can pin, you can share with your clients to show that you're a thought leader, an expert in your field.
Yeah, and it's another reason to keep relevant to what you do, right? Because you want to make sure the people voting on your polls are relevant as well. So it all comes together when you start treating LinkedIn connections as a database, right? Thinking it was from a work perspective, not a personal perspective, and then it all comes together.
So not asking about what's their favorite biscuit, or
genuinely couldn't care what their favorite biscuit is. No. Cool. Now let's talk increasing post reach. Obvious things are getting people to comment on your post. The more the post has, the more people that will see it, because you've got exponential reach. When someone comments on something, it tells their network they've commented on it. But remember to engage with your network. It's a two-way street, right? So you need to look at other people's posts, you need to comment on them, and they're more likely to comment back on your post. The big one for me is tagging. And the reason we put strategic in here is do not just tag everybody and anybody, because actually you need to make sure they actually interact with the post. If you tag someone and they don't engage back, it can damage the post. See that as well, actually it's not relevant, right? It could penalize you. So try and find 2 to 3 really good people that you're going to tag that are relevant to the post. I say no more than 8. I like 2 to 3 is kind of my sort of optimum. It's little things like if you're going to tag your company page, you need to make sure the company page actually comments on the post. So don't just tag your company page, actually then log into your company page and make sure it comments. So yeah, for me, tagging is a brilliant tap into other people's network, but you need to make sure they are going to engage it. You can't just tag completely irrelevant people. All right, we're on to measuring success, which we've already touched on, really. I'm a big believer the number one measure of success is revenue. But as I said at the start, you will not get that 30, 60, 90 days in, right? It's a long-term play. Marketing's long-term sales. So you need to measure things along the way and celebrate those successes. Things like profile views, things like post impressions, search appearances, all of these great things. Looking at your top performing posts, which ones are getting the most likes, doing more of that sort of stuff. Now, for me, I'd be looking probably monthly at my sort of posts, what are top performing, and then saying, can I repurpose any of these? I think so many people think I've posted about that before, I can't post about it again, when actually only a small subset of your connections are going to see the post that you do. So there's no harm in repurposing, posting the same thing almost. I wouldn't overthink that either. How many times do you see the same advert for McDonald's? There's a reason that they keep advertising to you, because actually at some point you're going to want a McDonald's. 5% of your market are probably in buyer mode now, whether that's moving job or actually hiring. There's 95% of people that will scroll past because it's not relevant to them at that moment in time. Post again, they might be in the 5% the next time they see it. Anything you'd add to that?
There's a question from the audience, from Nick Allwood. And Nick's asking, is commenting on a post, liking a post, or sharing a post generally accepted as the best method to optimize posts?
Commenting. So comments are king. We say a like is nice, comments is king. So a reshare of a post, it changes, but in my experience, resharing a post doesn't really benefit you. If you're going to get people to reshare, like say you post on the company page, you get people to comment on it, or ideally take that content as posters themselves. Again, you can do that in Page's wall feature, so you can repurpose posts. But if you don't have Pager, then I'd recommend you download the media and you post it as yourself, or comment on it. For me, comments are king if you want to do it and tap into each other's networks.
And then we've got another quick question. I'm just conscious of time because we've got 11 minutes left. Lisa Marie Godfrey's asked, what should the balance of posting from the company page and posting from your own profile?
It's an interesting one, right? Because if I could only pick one, let's say I was limited on resource, I'd be saying post on your own personal profile. The reason I say that is LinkedIn prefers posts from people. The news feed is built up with posts from people. But the important thing to remember is that people are researching your business as well. So if I go to a LinkedIn page and they haven't posted recently, the question I'm asking myself there is, are they out of business? Is it somebody that I should choose to support with my career, support with my business? So you should be doing both. If I had to choose, I'd say personal. And in terms of the balance, for me, you should be posting on your personal every single day. That's the ideal. I'd take 2-3 times a week. I really would, but every single day is where I sort of set the bar. And the company page, I don't really want to answer. While I'm an expert in LinkedIn and in terms of like LinkedIn using it for social selling sales, I would prefer Marcus to answer the company page one. I see the company page as, yes, we're here and you're going to engage some of your followers. But if you want direct, ROI, your personal profile is where it's at. And there might be some marketers in the chat that disagree with me.
That's the beauty of having an opinion. I think the thing about LinkedIn, like, it changes so much all the time as well, doesn't it? So it's really hard for everyone to have a definitive answer to those. We tend to find from our LinkedIn from team, like, our engagement and our actual views of the company posts are nowhere near the personal ones, like absolutely nowhere near. And we try and reshare as possible, but the reshares, again, I think have been hampered recently. So I tend to, take screenshots or get the raw copy of the videos or whatever, and then reshare them. Not reshare them, post them myself.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. In Pager, you've got the wall, so you can see you can see your colleagues post, and you press one button to share it as an original post as you. You can make changes to it. But if you don't have Pager, then the best thing, like you say, is to take that screenshot or comment on the post. But yeah, the reshare option just really isn't reaching that many people.
No.
The other thing,
social selling index is something that I wasn't aware of.
Oh, really?
This should be really interesting. I think a lot of people won't know about this as well. So this is a really important part.
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn do provide this as a way to measure your impact. Are you reaching the right people, finding the right people? Are you establishing your personal brand? Are you building relationships? Are you engaging with insights? And if you've got a certain SSI score, actually, I think it's 70 and above. It says right there, 70 and above. Then your post will reach more people. LinkedIn see that as you are giving back to the community, if you like, giving back to the network. So they will see you as somebody that's, somebody that they're going to boost your posts if you've got a good SSI. One thing to note is if you haven't got a paid account, you can't reach the top level. You have to have a paid account, like a LinkedIn recruiter license, sales nav license. But if you don't have a paid account, you can still get a decent SSI score of 70 plus and get that boost. But for me, this is a great way to measure your impact. So if you take your SSI score at the start of your journey and then, right, I'm going to commit to this for the next 2 months and check out your SSI score at the end, you will be able to see that improvement. It's provided by LinkedIn as a way to measure that as well. All right, we spoke about time, so let's get on to the final tips. Invest 3 months at a minimum. Implement these habits 3 times a week. Vary your content type. Have content themes. What I mean by that is you don't want to just post about everything and everything. Right? If you're, let's stick with Python recruitment. I'm going to be talking about how businesses can hire the top Python talent. I'm going to talk about how you can nurture junior developers to be senior developers in Python. And I'm going to be talking about why Python is the right language for a business. They're my 3 content themes. Right? And then suddenly, after 3 months, I'm known as the person that's the go-to person for hiring in Python. Connect with 10 to 15 people a day. Make sure they're relevant. Do clear out your network. And then actually comment on people's posts as well to give back to that community. If you do that, that's your recipe for success. That's when you're going to actually, in 3 months' time, start to see those results in terms of actual revenue. But measure it along the way and you'll start to know you're on the right track. And obviously the hardest part is consistency. There's tools like Pager available that help you to be consistent and actually deliver everything we're taking you through today. Make sure your profile is optimized. Make sure that you've got a buddy. I love that tip. So make sure you're not in it alone, right? If you're part of a team, teams are a brilliant community. There must be more than one team member on here that could actually buddy up with you and have a little challenge to hold yourself accountable. So do that within. I think you guys have got a WhatsApp group. Maybe put in there saying, right, who's my LinkedIn buddy? But that's a great tip from team at the end.
For the folks that are not in team, we have 27 groups in our WhatsApp community, and I'm the group admin on all of them. So it's actually the bane of my life, but it's a really active community. But I think you're absolutely right. Like that tip about getting some accountability, someone that every day you can say, I'm sure if there's folks on this that wanted to try this out, we could put this in the general chat this afternoon, but just say, like, someone want to keep me accountable, I'll keep you accountable for the next X amount of time, and then create your own little group with them and share ideas, share content, like get Pager, tell the other one how great Pager is to use these kind of features. But it's a really great way to make sure that you follow through on it as well, which I think is really good. And just to answer the quick question from Vicky. Vicky Douglas is asking where we find the SSI score. It's built into this playbook, so everyone will get a copy of it once we finish the LinkedIn live, and it's just a button that you click and it takes you through. So just conscious we got 5 minutes left. Shall I rattle through the last questions for you, Darren? Are you?
Yeah, go for it. I'm just going to stop sharing and then let's go for it.
So Stuart Gentle from OnRec is asking, just wondering, given how LinkedIn's algorithm works right now, does liking or commenting on a post that's a few weeks old still generate the same visibility?
It depends on how people have got their news feed ranked. So when you're connected, when you log into LinkedIn, at the top you can either do recent or relevant. If it's on relevant, then yes, people are going to see things that you've commented on recently, on older posts. But if you've got it on recent, then not so much. So it actually depends on your audience. It defaults to relevance now. One of the big changes LinkedIn made was it used to default to recent. And then everyone, you might have seen the post complaining, oh, I keep seeing old posts. It's because they changed it to relevance. You can change it back if you want to. But actually, I quite like the idea of relevance, because if you think about, as long as your audience is relevant, your connections are relevant, you want to see the top posts from your network for BD. You want to see what your people are posting. So it's a catch-22. I have mine set to relevance just because I want to see what's going on in my connections. But yeah, either way, add a comment because it's going to add value. But yeah, it does depend on what people set their newsfeed to, which makes it a little bit more challenging.
So have we got any more questions from the floor? I think we've tagged. Oh, wait a minute. We've got one from Hannah Tillotson. And Hannah's asking, if someone else tags you in a post mentioning you, can you feature that?
I don't believe so. I might be wrong. But what you could do is take a print screen of it and just upload it as media, as a featured post.
Always a workaround and a hack. Love that. I'm going to go right to the bottom. Any more questions? I think we've got, Cowpace is sharing the social selling index. I think that's pretty much everything. And I think all of the questions that I prepared beforehand, we've covered. So if we have no more questions, Darren, is there one last top tip that you can offer the audience for their LinkedIn profile optimization?
My biggest tip on LinkedIn is always the same thing. Get over yourself. If I hear one more person say, oh, I can't do that, I've got a face for radio. Yeah, I know, so have I. Right? The reality is we're in business to make money, and LinkedIn makes you money. You just got to get over yourself. Think about when you made your first cold call, right? How nervous you were. And then tell me that you can't post on LinkedIn. Yes, it can be nerve-wracking. Oh, someone might say something. Yeah, if you can make a cold call, you can post on LinkedIn. I'm tired of hearing it. So get over yourself and get posted. There you go. Last word, get over yourself and get posting. Thank you so much, Darren. That was a brilliant session. If anyone wants to reach out to Darren, I think the QR code in the bottom, and I'm sure Jahisha will share afterwards. But thanks so much for your time. We'll get a copy of this playbook to everyone. There's a version of it, I think, on your website. There's a version of it on the team website as well. And everyone, really looking forward to seeing the results everyone gets off this LinkedIn Live. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you.